There's a long one. Nothing but net. Oh, my goodness. Didn't see that coming. I'm diddly dee.
Yeah.
Welcome to another episode of All Nat. I'm your host, Natalie, but everybody calls me Nat. Today, I'm so excited. I have a queen joining me today for this episode from Lakers Twitter. I don't know. She's Lakers Nation, Lakers fan. So I don't know if this is a good thing or bad thing, but we're going to find out as she and I have this discussion.
What do you mean you don't know?
Of course I know. That's why I have you on. No, Juanita is great. I'm going to let her tell you about herself, but she is great. Her basketball mind is amazing. And that's one of the main reasons I wanted to have her on. And I love to hear a woman talking hoops and knowing their shit. And she does. So I'm going to let her introduce herself to you. But Juanita, thank you for joining and being a guest on today.
Wow, thank you for having me. First and foremost, to the listeners, you can find me on Twitter at SageBeatLove. I'm like she said, I'm a Laker fan, very big Laker fan, but more than that, I'm a very big basketball fan. Just in general, LA native. As far as the things I do, I am 1/3 of the Bonnie Gang podcast.
Yeah,
so you can
bunch of characters on that podcast.
Yeah,
check it out. They're fun. They're fun to listen to.
We be wild and we talk our shit. We get our thoughts off. You know what I'm saying? We try to give the game in a more digestible way, in a way that isn't skewed toward one player or another. We like the objectivity is important for us.
And where can they find you?
We are on, it's a triple threat pod by Bonnet Gang. You can catch us on SoundCloud, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts.
Yes, which is where I tune in on Apple, but I didn't know like all of the different places where you're available.
Oh yeah. We out here.
Cool. Well, anyway, the WNBA finals just ended. So I know right now, did you have a team like in this, or were you just rooting for like Candace because she was on the Sparks before?
For the Sky.
Okay.
It's like as a team, I was rooting for the Sky.
But is that because of Candace, or is that
it's in part because of Candace? It's also like the roster just in general. Kalea Copper she's a finals MVP. She's incredible, man. Just on goal all the time. And Courtney Vandersloot. If you have the opportunity, go back and watch this series from Courtney Vandersloot. She set the record for not just most assists in a final series. She set the record for most assists in a playoff series. This final, she played the point guard position about as well as you can play it.
Love
it. Who can orchestrate an offense, as someone who can score, beat that man off the dribble, play defense, all of that, all the things you value out of your point guard. She did that, and she did that well. So yeah.
So Chicago, you were pleased with the outcome. You were celebrating?
Absolutely. I knew I was gonna get on here like right after the game, so I didn't drink too much, but I had a little sip. You feel me?
You can sip a little something. I'm not gonna be upset.
No. Like I'm good. I'm good right now. Good right now. I gotta come back.
Told me I could have had my drink and we could have been. I'm not a big drinker. I'm not, but I would have had one for you.
No. We all right. I haven't. Okay. I did my little sangria with the Hennessy in there. We straight.
Let me tell you, it's a very fun feeling, enjoyable when you are watching a game and you don't have any vested interest in it. You know, like right? When I was watching, I could just appreciate the basketball that was on because I was like, whoo. I was rooting for another game because I just want to see BG go off. Like she's just a beast. And I was like, okay.
BG was out there like Wilt Chamberlain at times during the playoff run. Like it was she was plain unstoppable until they stopped going to her, which in case made her stoppable. But
right,
she was like, she made the Mercury go. as far as their winning and their even just championship hope, she's the reason that they have that. I understand Diana Taurasi is who she is within the game, but she also old as I don't know what. So I, on
There
one
seems
hand,
to
it's
be
like,
a little uproar about like the whole recent like goat thing that's been
well, here's
assigned to her.
why.
How are you feeling about that?
I didn't agree. I didn't agree. I didn't
A
agree.
lot
And
of
I
people
didn't agree.
haven't.
And I didn't agree because you gave her the GOAT award before the finals, which she subsequently lost, by the way. They called her the GOAT. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, I understand Maya Moore then took her sabbatical and was like, yo, forget all of this. I got my man out of jail. We gonna do a whole much more stuff. I understand a whole lot of other things, but you're not finna give Diana Taurasi a GOAT award with Cynthia Cooper Dyke standing on the court. That I can't do. I can't get jiggy with it. I'm not content. And then also like the women have a very interesting way of looking at the title of GOAT, especially in women's basketball, because the wealth of talent is just so immense. They were saying that there isn't really one particular GOAT as much as it's just a level you reach. And I think that's like, and
You agree with that or no?
I agree with that. I agree with that because each era of basketball demands something else.
So do you feel like that
And
across like both NBA and WNBA?
I can see that absolutely. Because I feel like, yeah, each era of basketball demands something else. There's gonna be times where somebody can't win 6 MVPs. Like that's just not gonna happen. When you've got we've got a league this talented, it's gonna be difficult. Like, yeah, you'd be great, you'd be MVP worthy all of those years, but it wouldn't matter. Somebody else is also MVP worthy. That's another way that I look at that award. Like, people will argue over, oh, uh, he didn't deserve MVP or this MVP should have gone here. And I'm like, usually everyone who finishes at least top 3 in MVP deserved it on some level.
Right.
So
Okay.
can't be mad at the choices at that point.
I almost felt like after they, the whole GOAT thing with Diana, then it was just like people were almost rooting against her. Like they wanted her to lose. They were pissed about that.
Oh, that was already happening. So like if you if you watch their series against the Aces, you knew like nah, it wasn't gonna be anything positive. Like if she got the GOAT award, it only irked the people who were already irked with her. She complains a lot. She takes a lot of threes. She wasn't making a lot of threes. She had vintage moments once every few quarters. Like it's all right. And they
Right.
were just like, it was just like y'all are on her jock. Relax.
Sounds like another player. I know. Anyway. Uh,
Who might that be? I don't know.
all right. Oh, look what I'm wearing.
Hey, look, I have mine on too. Wait, hold on. I have
You
mine
want to
on.
tell
Mine
them
says
what this is?
so. I have a
Make
clothing line. It's
Love
called Make Love
Cool.
Cool. Um,
Tell them again. Tell
yeah,
them again, because I was talking
it's
over you.
the clothing line is called Make Love Cool, and it's cool because it's more of a practice and an ideology as well as a clothing line. Like when you make love cool is you walk with that, you walk with love and you take it with you, you give it out and and you're so good at love and you're so great at the things that you do that people see you and they're attracted to the love that you permeate and they want to give that same love. Like I have this idea
Nope.
that people I had this idea that people are mirrors. So if you in the same way that if you were to shine a light on a mirror, it will reflect at the angle of incidence and bounce off and hit something else. That's how I see love. You shine love at somebody, depending on the angle you hit it from, it'll bounce off and hit somebody else.
Dope. I love it. As soon as I saw it, I said, I need to have this. Clothing line is dope, y'all. So check it out. Follow Juanita. We're going to post, her Twitter handle on here, but definitely follow her, support her clothing brand. It's really dope. I got 2 tops. I'm wearing the sweatshirt today. It says Make Love Cool. It's so cute to me. I also got a tee that says Make Love Too. What is it? Make Love Cool. I said cool, 2. Yeah. Make Love Too. Yeah. Make Love Too.
Make love too. Don't neglect that part. That's real important.
Don't neglect that part. But no, for real, the slogan really jumped out to me. And I'm a pretty, contrary to what maybe some folks on Twitter may think of me, particularly your fan base.
I don't claim them.
I'm an incredibly, incredibly loving and nurturing person. And so it just really stood out to me. I love it. I think, especially Black people, I wish we could just love each other more. You know what I'm saying? So definitely dope. Get it. Definitely. I'm modeling it for you so you can see
right now. Yeah.
Okay. So go buy some. All right. So let's talk some NBA. So opening night is Tuesday.
Yes. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too.
So excited.
What are you most excited about? Just that NBA's returning, or what? What has you most excited?
I'm always excited for the NBA's return.
Okay. Me too.
I'm always
my life and schedule kind of revolves around the NBA, which I know might be
essentially because what I realized with the NBA is the NBA also mirrors a school schedule. If you pay attention, it starts in the fall and it runs all the way to like the end of spring, early summer, and then you get your summer break, and then you right back in it. And that schedule has been instilled in me since I was a kid because that's what you do. So for me, I'm always excited about the NBA's return because Summer League is cool. And I love the WNBA. Like the women, they're incredible. But the NBA is where it's at for me. Like that's been my love since I was like 4 or 5. So
same. And I mean, it was there before the WNBA. So I'm still learning the WNBA. Like I know like the big players, but I definitely didn't like grow up watching it, so I'm still learning, but I still find it exciting to watch. So I don't really understand the people who are just like, oh, it's women's basketball. Like I love watching them play, but I still, obviously my first love is still the NBA for now. That could change, but yeah, right now that's what it is.
Like if you love basketball, watch the WNBA. People get up and on women's hoops. I'm like, it's basketball, fam. Like the game don't change. People playing it changes.
But like for real. Like
it's real X's and O's. It's like the skill level is evident. Like all the stuff you think you do and pick up basketball, they do for real.
Yeah.
And they do it well. Like it would do you well to watch it, especially if you have kids who play. The WNBA is a great league to watch for kids because
fundamentals.
It's fundamentals. Like they're not dunking all over the place. Now you might see somebody dunk. We're getting to that point where the training and the weightlifting, all that stuff starts earlier. You get more athletes. It's like, so you may or may not see somebody dunk, but more or less you see really good fundamentals, and it's always a good watch. Always a good watch.
I could watch BG all day and night. Like I love watching her play.
Right shoulder, left shoulder, don't matter which one you want.
Yes. So, all right. So NBA starting on Tuesday, and opening night, we got Warriors and Lakers. In LA, which I don't like because, Stephen has a history in
of
Staples.
Not playing well in Staples. I know.
Although the last time he was there, he did play well. So let's hope he repeats that and we just get a win this time. But his history in Staples is not like on his side.
Oh.
So what are you thinking? Are you excited about the season? Oh, you said you're excited, but like, how did you feel after preseason? Because I mean,
I didn't watch it.
Okay,
I skipped most of it. I skipped most of it, and the reason that I skipped most of it, and I don't put any real stock into preseason, at least for this particular team, because there's so many vets. And with that comes, I'm not finna try hard. Not on
But they were
October.
trying in some of the games. They
So like
were.
again,
They,
I didn't watch it.
they were.
So
I
like
promise you. Like, it's not one of those things where it's just like, I get it. I agree. And I don't think you should put too much stock in preseason.
no.
But at least in the game versus the Warriors and when they played the Kings, I definitely felt like they were trying to win. And the Kings one was a close one. It went down to the end, but they were trying. It wasn't like we were just chilling.
Like it depends on the lineup also and like what's to work on because with preseason is tricky because a team could look a certain way. Team could look bad. It could look like, oh, it's sloppy. Oh, it's this or this may not work. There are different objectives to each lineup. So I don't know what the coaches are looking for. So I'm watching bad basketball, but it may not have anything to do with like the offense that they're looking for.
Right.
Maybe this person needs to play with them. So I got to see him in this spot with this lineup compared to this guy in this spot with that lineup. Maybe I have to see, okay, we're installing a new offense. We have 12 new players.
Right. So talk
So
to me about that.
it's
How
a
are you
lot.
feeling about all the new guys and the pieces and how it's going to fit together? I mean, I by no means am I suggesting because the Lakers didn't win a preseason game that they are like cooked. I'm just saying that there appear to be some struggles, and so maybe it won't be smooth sailing from like jump. And I just was wondering, like, is there any kind of measured response? Because I feel like it's either all like, oh my God, they lost every game, or it's like, oh, I don't care about preseason. I don't even look at it at all. And I'm like, well, preseason tells you something.
It's easy because we have LeBron James and Anthony Davis.
Where do you still have LeBron? You think he's still the best player in the NBA?
No, but that's all right. You don't need him to be that.
Okay.
That's all right. Like
top five,
three, top three, top five, however you want to spin it. It ain't too many people better than him now. Like soon as you get to name two, it's like, I don't know. So as long as the Lakers have the amount of talent that they have, their start to the season, though it'll be choppy as far as the kind of play we'll see, I don't think the results will be that variant. I think they'll win at a good clip just on the strength of talent. Because again, you only got 5 players. I don't care how deep your team is. If we have LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Russell Westbrook down like at the end of the game, and it's within like 5 points, I like our chances.
Yeah, with Russ.
With Russ, yes, with Russ. See, and the thing with Russ gets a very bad rap. Russ gets a very bad rap.
A deserving one.
I wouldn't say that. He's been scapegoated for some questionable teammate performances. And
he was scapegoated a little bit in OKC, but
he was
outside
scapegoated
of that, where
he was scapegoated even just even a bit in OKC with like the Paul George teams. Like there's some scapegoating going on there. Like, and nobody even likes Paul George, which is the other part of that. Strange.
Right. I didn't feel like anybody was blaming him. And it was Paul like, George getting everything.
So, and then he was also scapegoated in Houston. So it's just, he gets a bad rap, but the man is a one-man playoff berth. He is a one-man playoff berth and that's as a number one option or like the best player on the team, whatever. When we look at Russ as a clear-cut number 2 or number 3, he's a regular Western Conference Finals attendee. Like when he doesn't have to be looked upon to be the primary scorer and the primary playmaker and the primary rebounder, he looks a whole lot different. And one thing that I appreciate about Russ is for all of the turnovers, like we're going to get a lot of those, but I come to expect that with playmakers of his caliber. He is a guy who I've seen just elevate even like, I don't know. We were talking about the Wizards last season's Wizards, and he got off to a very bad start. He started off the year, he had a bad quad or something,
Right.
also had the Rona or whatever, and they got off to a very very bad start. He gets healthy, they start winning. And it wasn't like, oh, they were winning like, oh, 2 and 3 games here, and then like, no, they were winning. Like, he was dominating individually. And you put a guy like that with LeBron James and Anthony Davis, I always like your odds. He's a
Okay.
workhorse.
That's fair. That's
He's
fair.
Also, him with those two, they hit on what I consider the keys to championship basketball. And what I mean by that is they are able to control the paint, meaning they score in the paint, but they also finish plays and get rebounds. And they pass the ball. Like, the ball isn't gonna stick with them too often. Like, if one has the ball as a pick and roll, somebody's setting the backdoor screen, somebody's gonna move, somebody's gonna get open.
Russ is pretty ball dominant though.
It's like, we say that, but we also have to go back and look at his teammates. Russ is ball dominant, but KD still had his easy 30.
Because he's KD.
No. It's like,
Yes!
okay, so we charge KD. We charge KD being KD to, okay.
I'm just saying K is super efficient.
No, he is. But if he was as ball dominant as if Russ is ball dominant as you're saying, like, that becomes a point of contention, and it wasn't. KD was getting 30 for years, and it wasn't an issue.
Right, because I think you can do that with a teammate like KD. Like, he doesn't need the ball a lot, and he'll get his 30, which is why I think that's why, like, you could still have him and Steph and Clay all getting, like, Clay 20 plus and KD and Steph over 25, because none of those guys have to have the ball in their hands, you know.
Right. But
Russ
that's
is ball dominant.
But like, Russ isn't. I wouldn't say Russ is ball dominant as much as he's a point guard, because again, KD was getting his easy 31, his MVP, and all of that. Fast forward a few years, Paul George had his best season ever, playing next to Russell Westbrook.
You think that's because of Russ?
Huh?
You think that's
he ain't have it nowhere else. He ain't had it in LA.
He had great seasons, and
but we talking defensive player of the year caliber, top 3 in MVP voting, Paul George.
Yeah, but to me, one of Paul George's best seasons was actually last year with the Clippers. But you know, there were times he sat.
I mean, there's one of his best seasons, and then there's like his actual best season. And if we're looking at Paul George, what his pinnacle was that season in OKC before he flamed out in the playoffs.
There's no way I attribute that to Russell Westbrook.
But like, you don't have to attribute that to him. But Russ is Russ. Like, if all of these things, if KD got MVP, was averaging 38 next to Russell Westbrook.
I actually thought that was because Russ seeded the offense to Paul George, which is why they flowed better.
But that's Russ making that decision. Russ is the point guard. So like, you get down, you go to Houston. James Harden don't change for nobody. And he still didn't. Russ was the one who adapted the most. Now, granted, they gutted the team because they couldn't figure out how to get things working, mostly because James Harden wouldn't change. But when they were together, like when Russ is healthy, that team was winning. It's like James Harden didn't really have any drop-offs. Like, Russ isn't the hindrance people think he is.
I think he's ball dominant. I mean, and I think Russ is. I don't think Russ is a scrub. I just think that, like, there's things about his game stylistically that can be great, and other things that can be a hindrance. You know, it just depends on how they adapt to each other.
Russ's main issue is one, he doesn't. It's the finesse that he lacks. Like,
he also doesn't make the best like game decisions.
It wouldn't go that far. He's one of the best clutch performers in the NBA. But Yeah, he is. He is. You can run those. He's like, you can run those. No, you go look.
I don't know what we're defining as like clutch.
He's one of the best. One of the
but
best clutch
he
in
makes
NBA.
a lot of boneheaded decisions. So like, just because you hit a lot of shots to me doesn't negate the fact that like you do some stupid shit too as well, you know. And he does, like, definitely.
His shot selection be all right, whatever. But
very questionable.
Like, it'd be questionable. But I also rooted for Kobe, so we like that's shot selection doesn't. No, he's not Kobe. He's not Kobe. But I'm like used to rooting for people with questionable shot selection, so it's all right. What I am excited about Russ for is we haven't seen him with this level of talent. We have not. And I am
he's played with KD and he had Harden.
Okay. Like neither one of those men are LeBron James. And
that's a LeBron level player. I mean,
I wouldn't go that far. Like
I would.
Like KD, right?
I definitely would. I definitely would.
Like, here's the thing. Watching the Warriors run, watching LeBron's run, and then seeing KD and all of that, he like a half step below. No. Like half step below. And like it's just and it doesn't matter because he doesn't have Braun when Braun is like at his peak. So he's played with Kevin Durant like pretty much when Kevin Durant was at the beginning of like his peak powers, you could say. But I mean, he's had comparable talent. I don't know. Like not all at once though. Like you consider like when you say he played with KD, I'm like, who was the third on that team? Well, it depends. At one point, it was Harden, and I understand at the time Harden was a sixth man. But even still, if you look at that, that's not Anthony Davis level. Is Anthony Davis a better player than James Harden? No, no. It's like so not like, but you're talking about when he played with James Harden. When Russell Westbrook when he played with when he played with James Harden. You see what I'm saying? Like he hasn't had this level of talent. Like all at once. Oh well, I'll give that to you. I'm giving it to you. It's like y'all like look. All I'm gonna say about Russ, and I'm gonna leave Russ alone. I'm giving it to you. No. Like, do watch. Just watch. Don't believe me. Just watch. I've watched a lot of years. Just watch. Just watch. You don't have to watch a lot of years. Just watch this season. Because is people convinced that this won't work? Because Russell's jump shot is like, bro, he not Ray Allen. He not finna sit up there and shoot threes knowing he can't shoot. No, not like no, not on this team, bro. Not on this one. He not finna just jack those up. Not on this team. I don't think he's gonna ruin things because, like, I don't think LeBron will just let that go down on a court with him. But do I think he's crazy enough to do that? Absolutely. Yes. Only like you see that. I've seen him do that. Like he'll do it in say an all-star game, like games that don't really matter. He'll go out and jack threes. But like for a third option. That stuff in the Blazers series when him and Paul George were playing them, Russ is part of the reason people like get caught up on like the last shot with PG guarding, but Russ is part of the reason they lost that fucking game because he got into that individual battle with Dame. What was that about? That was bullshit. No, he was trying to match Dame 1-for-1. But that's cool. That's all right. Not in the game. It's not like we trying to win. No, here's the thing. That's all right. Then he not on that team. We not like he not on that team. He not playing with that same player. He won't have the opportunity. Like you gotta understand when you on the court with LeBron James.
Well, that's what I said. I don't think it'll happen because LeBron won't let it, but it's not because.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you have to take that into account.
Okay, so
You
let's say
take
that, but it's
into
not
account.
because Russ has gotten like smarter and he's not gonna like
but
resort to the same antics.
Like,
and do
the
same
role
shit.
is different. Like, the role is different. The opportunities are gonna be different. Like, everything. It's like people are so caught up in what won't work. They ain't really took the opportunity to look at what will. And I'm excited because it's gonna be a track meet.
Your team.
It's gonna be a track meet. I hope y'all boys hit the weight room. I hope y'all brought
track
track
meet.
shoes.
Them old dudes gonna be running up and down.
It's gonna be a track meet. It's gonna be a track meet.
What track meet? What are they running, like long distance?
Track meet.
Sprints? What kind of track
It'll be
meet?
a track meet, bro. Russell Westbrook is running point. It's a track meet. You got Bron filling the lane. What are you talking about?
But what race are they running?
They outrunning your team to the basket.
Nah.
That's what that is. Though.
Nah, nigga.
That's what that is. That's what that is. I pick a roll for the kill. Oh my god.
It's not going down.
It's gonna be brutal. It's gonna be brutal. You like, ooh. The only thing about the Lakers though, as of right now, is their wing rotation is not where it should be.
Who are your wings? You got Bazemore.
So it's Baze, Malik Monk, Trevor Ariza. They got Taylor Horton Tucker.
How long is Ariza gonna be out for?
I'm not even sure when he got the procedure done, so I can't tell you.
What's the issue?
It's something with his ankle.
Okay,
but he's gonna miss the start of the season. We got Wayne Ellington, which is a great shooter, but dear God, can't guard a light pole. My only issue with the Lakers is,
and they're trying to play DJ, right?
That's the other hang up. Like, I was with all the moves until that one, and I was like, all right, now I want to punt the whole thing because you being stupid. You clearly need a wing. Like, you need a small forward. If you telling me that Anthony Davis is going 5 and LeBron James playing power forward, then you don't have an actual small forward and you need one. Like, Trevor Ariza is cool, but he 39. Like, relax. All of these dudes is old. They all on the wrong side of 30. Go get somebody else. And Malik Monk, great pickup. Loved it, but he's a shooting guard. They just got Sekou, dude, the Pistons let go. He's on a 2-way deal. So right now,
so what is your starting lineup? Like, what do you know or understand to be the lineups?
I don't know who's gonna start at 2, to be honest with you, but the starting 4 is gonna be Russ, Baze, Bron, and AD.
Baze is starting
again. Trevor Ariza's out,
so it would have been Ariza if not for
like
Baze.
So Ariza was projected starter. THT got a surgery on his hand, so he's no good. Malik Monk, they like him off the bench. So it comes down to Baze, and the other hole is like, is it gonna be Ellington or Malik Monk? And he should be like, Malik Monk's like dealing with a strained groin, though he should be good to go by Tuesday. So I mean, the other like alternative is you play Bron at the 3, but who the fuck wants to do that? So
okay,
I figured out.
So I'm assuming that opening night, you're expecting the Lakers to walk away as winners in that game.
No.
No.
Opening night for the Lakers is always up and down. Always hit and miss. Teams with more continuity tend to do well first game of the season.
Mm-hmm.
So by that token, I can see where the Warriors would just would look so much better. Just especially with the younger guys having much more continuity, getting a summer of work together and all of that. I think that is going to play a major role. Beyond that, though, again, talent is talent. So I have no idea. But the Warriors, though, It's a damn good team, like talent wise. At least their first 7, 8 guys,
Yeah.
definitely.
We're a
So,
lot deeper than people are giving us credit for.
oh, so much. Like people don't realize.
But I'm glad. Let them keep sleeping.
This
Keep
is, man,
sleeping.
that's a really good team. That's a really good team.
No doubt.
Like
We're the 7th, 8th. We're gonna be fighting for a play-in. Okay.
7, 8. What? No, it's a
I'm
top five
telling
team.
you, it's what these streets
This
been
is this a
saying.
top five seed. I'm looking. I think I have like 54-28 on the low side. Like, yeah, roughly.
Yeah, I was talking to someone yesterday and I said I have them around 55 wins,
Like
definitely
54,
over
28.
50.
Yeah,
I think Vegas has them at 48.
no,
But I have them over
and the
50.
because Steph is Steph, and Steph is incredible. But beyond Steph, Otto Porter Jr. and Nemanja Bjelica are really good pickups.
Yeah, and as long as they stay healthy, have you seen what they've been shooting like? And well, you haven't. You
Like
said you haven't
I
been
really been
watching
watching
preseason, but
nah,
they've been shooting.
they can shoot it. They can shoot.
Otto has a new
So
nickname. We're calling him Otto Corner. Auto corner something because like he's like automatic, like
yeah,
he's shooting a ridiculous percentage. I want to say like I don't want to make up numbers, but it's like really high 40s or something like that
yeah,
from
no,
three right
the
now. He's insane right now. But the thing about Belly is not just his shooting, but it's his passing. He like has really great court vision and he moves well too, like he can like cut and just a really smart high IQ player. You can see it. And like
yeah, absolutely.
you need that in a Steve Kerr system. So and I think the biggest, thing is really the leap that Jordan Poole has taken that people didn't expect.
Yeah.
He averaged the second highest amount of points in preseason. Steph was actually third, and I forget who was first. Someone in the East, I think, or something. So, and Zach LaVine was fourth, but who the fuck was first? It's escaping me.
Who knows? Like it's again, but this is like preseason comes in play. So who knows what trends like continue? So for Jordan Poole, I'm excited he gets to be who he was drafted to be. Finally,
Yeah.
like because I remember when he was drafted, there was a lot of teeth sucking going on. I remember his rookie year, it was a lot of teeth sucking going on.
Well, he was, he was
Yeah,
being a
I mean,
typical rookie,
a rookie. He's a rookie,
and
but
he was, whatever, and fans or not, but I mean, he's really stepped up. Like his
yeah,
development has been tremendous.
this is like it's the league.
Were you a fan of his in college?
No, I had no idea who it was. I just remember like just seeing the coverage of him. Like again, like I'm a basketball fan, so like
Right.
certain rookies come into like your lexicon or whatever. Like Jordan Poole was a rookie who was on my timeline a lot. I follow a lot of Warriors fans, so seeing him and he like just hearing their analysis and their takes on him, and then now seeing him now,
Yeah. Look, I was one of the
night
ones
and
who
day,
bashed him, so I'm not even gonna front. I was
night
like, all
and
right.
day, night and day. Credits like all credit and praise due to him for doing that work. It's like you can't buy it, cannot buy that.
Yeah, because Lakers fans were clowning us at one point. They were like, imagine drafting Jordan Poole over THT. we're like, oh yeah. We've had fun with that one lately.
I think I mean, it's like THT, man. That dude's gifted. He's
I'm
not
seeing
a
some
he's,
wild predictions for him from Lakers
no.
fans in terms of his
It's
ceiling.
and like it's tricky. He's a scorer for sure. I don't know how good. He just needs to trust his left hand. If he trusts his left hand, the sky is the limit for him as a scorer. I don't know. I don't trust his playmaking ability,
Mm-hmm.
which is why I don't really have him as a guard. He's 6'5", got ridiculous wingspan, could be a incredible two-way player, but that's just work. And last season, I get it, wasn't much of an off season. This year, though, you had your off year, like you had your off season. We'll see what he looks like when he gets back in a month and a half. Like, so yeah.
So what do you think? How many wins for the Lakers this season?
Um, 65.
What?
Like 65 wins. 65 and 17. I'm dead serious. I am
Oh,
so serious. I'm so serious. I'm so
okay.
serious. Like, mind you, this is me like health permitting, and this is health for all teams. Health for all
Obviously.
teams, like health for all teams permitting
Shit,
65
health
wins.
permitting, I think Warriors win 60, but damn, 65 wins? Do you know what it takes to be a 65 win team?
You talking to somebody who's seen 6 championships. That's I know what it takes to be a
I
65
know,
win
but
team.
like this team,
Like I know what it is. I know what it is. I know what it is. I already know.
don't get that vibe from this Lakers team.
Like you don't have to
65
get
wins?
that vibe. I get that vibe, and that's okay. That's okay. Here's the thing. I remember when I said this before the 1920 season. Oh, I said they would win 67 or something like that before that 1920 season, and they were on pace for 67 before the season was shut down. And they was like, they don't have the talent. All right, cool. And what happened? What happened?
We'll revisit this.
Because I'm looking at the style, like I'm looking at the style of play, and that is conducive to wins, man. It's conducive to wins. It's not gonna be pretty.
So
it ain't gonna be pretty, and it ain't gonna be by a lot most of the time.
Wins for the Lakers. Okay.
65.
And is Bron gonna be chasing that 5th MVP this year? Is he chasing that again?
I don't know if he'll be like.
He was definitely chasing it last year.
No, he was. Last year he kind of had to, like, especially with Anthony Davis being in and out of lineup the way that he was. But I don't know that I see that for Bron this particular season. Simply because you have Anthony Davis and Russell Westbrook. Like the playmaking load gets lightened with Russ. The scoring load.
But he wants a 5th one.
I'm sure he does. I don't know if it's how much value he places on it to where his priority will be.
Mm-hmm.
But if he wants the 5th MVP, he's got to be that. And
all season.
If that's all season. And if that's the case, then definitely 65 wins. So,
okay.
Because again, I think with league MVP, I feel like the top 3 are going to be, maybe top 4. I'll go top 4 MVP picks.
Okay, let me hear them.
I'll go Jokic, Steph, and Giannis.
Okay,
and
no KD or Harden. Either one of them, actually. No one from the Nets?
No one from the Nets. No one from the Nets. No one from the Lakers.
What about Embiid?
It depends on what the Sixers look like.
Right.
Because my issue with Embiid last year, and no, my fourth in MVP probably be Luka, and that's because he's getting a media push. I have no idea what the Mavs are going to be, but with Embiid, I wasn't wild about his finish last year.
Right. I mean, I don't think Embiid will play ever probably enough of the season to win it, right? Because he gets managed a little bit.
It's not just that. Right. So I remember just last season, he came in second, I believe, and I didn't appreciate that. Just even looking at the Warriors, right? Because he came in second and missed 25% of the season.
Right.
And his team was still first in the conference.
Right.
You that valuable?
Yeah,
and you missing 25% of the season and your team's still number. I get you, but if I'm looking at other players around the league,
right,
like he's not more valuable than Steph. Like, let's be real.
People have a very different ways in which they measure.
They do, but
MVP.
even still, like if you miss 25% of the season and your team's still the number 1 seed, you shouldn't be top 2 in MVP. That's how I see it.
No, I mean, I hear you. And look, obviously, I'm never going to be upset at anybody saying Steph should have been higher, but I'm just saying that I'm a big proponent and believer of your play plus your team needs to be like at a certain level. And that's why it annoys me, all the shenanigans and bullshit the Warriors pulled last season. Because like if you don't really know and understand basketball, or you're just a hater. It's one of the two. Then you are an idiot and you believe like the Warriors were really not that good and they didn't make the playoffs and like all that bullshit. And if you want to believe that, then I've learned to stop using my energy to like argue with those people. But all they had to do was give like Steph a little bit last year. I'm not saying that they would have won, but like if they just gave him a shooter or two, right? Like if
they played that season so it was so strange because
it was intentional. They were trying to
they were trying to like tank, but they couldn't really tank.
They wanted to keep their 2 picks. They wanted to keep the mini pick, and they wanted to keep their actual pick. And so they never wanted to get too high. And so they kept people out of the lineup. Look at someone like JTA. Like it was clear that he was like a better player, but they didn't play him. You know, they sat him mad nights. You know, Steve Kerr comes out and says, we're not chasing wins. I mean, they were purposely, and even with that, they finished 6 games above 500. You know, it's like,
it was such a strange phenomenon to watch because you're squandering this man. Like you're squandering this man's talent. Like
his talent. And it should have been a 3rd MVP season, which is elusive fucking company, Bill. Elusive, like it don't happen. It don't happen.
And they just, we not chasing wins. We ain't finna play this. We like, dang, he out here killing himself, and like his second best player was a dude who can't make a layup on his own. Like, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Oh, like
we don't need to relive last season. The point is,
we don't.
You watch basketball, you know, you get it. I know what I was watching. You know what you were watching. And so the point is, knowing all of that, right? To me, there's no way not to really think that they're going to be one of the better teams in the West. So some of these predictions I see people making are like really insane, but
also worth considering. Like, people tell you who not going to be what in the West. It's worth noting that there are a lot of injuries in the West coming into the season to a lot of key guys. Like the Clippers would probably be higher, but Kawhi Leonard's out.
Right.
The Nuggets would probably be higher, but Jamal Murray's out. I'm like, and yeah, they got Michael Porter Jr., but it's Michael Porter Jr.
Yeah. So, who do you think? Tell me what you think the West is gonna look like.
I got Jazz, Suns, Lakers, top 3 seeds.
Okay.
Just below them, I've got the Warriors, and this is where things are tricky because now we got the injured teams. Like the Blazers are gonna fall out, so they won't be in that mix. The Mavs might move up just on the strength of other teams not being as good.
What about the Nuggets?
The Nuggets, because Jokic is really that guy. He is really that guy.
He's really that guy, and we don't talk about him a lot.
And we don't talk. First of all, he's this big ass white dude in Denver. Like, no, we're not talking about Jokic.
I love it.
If you ever have the opportunity, if you have not watched a lot of Denver Nuggets basketball these last few years, and the Denver Nuggets are on TV, you need to watch and you need to witness Nikola Jokic do his thing.
Great.
It's the passing, the shooting. He's got a catapult for a jump shot. It's almost no blocking it. He is
masterful.
Like, absolutely.
Masterful. The skill level, skill level is just next level. It's great.
It's incredible. And I know people make fun of him for, oh, he's fat. I'm like, but if you go back and you look at his last 2 seasons, it's been a marathon for him. An absolute marathon. He's got his body
even into better shape. Like, have you seen
better shape?
The videos for this past off season?
I have not.
Yeah, no,
I believe it. And they need every bit of it because Jamal Murray again will be out to start the year. So
it's interesting. Do you follow JP on Twitter?
The Clippers fan?
Yeah. So because I had him on earlier, like because we're gonna be playing the clips on Thursday.
Right.
But he was saying how he thinks it's going to be interesting when Jamal comes back, what that dynamic's going to be like with, MPJ and which also,
Yeah.
I mean, I think similarly the Warriors are going to have a similar dynamic with Poole and Clay. The difference is, like, I know Michael Porter Jr. Well, I don't know him, but like just based on like comments he's made in the past, he ain't trying to cede
No.
his
Michael
spot
Porter
to
Jr.
anybody.
Michael Porter Jr. is a superstar in his mind. It's only a matter of time, and that's essentially who the Denver Nuggets drafted him to be. So,
Right.
in their mind, it's Jamal Murray at the one, Michael Porter Jr. on the wing, Nikola Jokic inside, and you got Aaron Gordon at the 4. Cool. I'm not sure who starts at the 2, but that's neither here nor there.
Are they using Austin for that?
Huh?
Are they using Austin for that, Rivers, or is he back up?
I don't know. I don't think he's starting. Would not surprise me if he was, but I don't think he is. As far as they go, though, man, the Nuggets are gonna be another team that's gonna be like a tough out because Jokic is really that good. So
yeah, so the top team. So I don't put I mean, I put the Lakers as one of the top teams in the West, but I also put Warriors as one of the top teams in the West. I think they're going to definitely be a top 4 seed, and I think that they could probably be a 3 seed. It just depends. I got to see how the season goes. I'm not a big believer in. I think Utah's going to have another good record again. I think they're going to be a top
they
team.
are.
I
They
just
Rudy
don't.
Gay is an underrated pickup for them.
See, and I was talking about that earlier. No, I think Rudy Gay is a great pickup for them.
Yeah, I see them like they're built for the regular season. It's the postseason that they have a lot of questions that need to be answered for.
It's the Suns who I don't think, like, the way everyone just keeps having them as a top team, and they may be, but I'm not as sold on them just like making it back and being like one of the top teams in the West. And then like I think Denver, Jokic is that good that I think Denver can be up there. So I just don't know who it's going to be. But I think you're right in terms, or I agree with you in terms of the top 5 teams. I think so. That's Lakers, Suns, Jazz, Warriors, and Nuggets. But like order to me is still like, I don't know, but I do think those are probably like your top 5 teams. And then after that, like I think the Clips could be in play for that 6th spot. I do.
Also,
even with
I think the
Clips, that Kawhi,
that 5 spot might be like, because that's a threshold, right? So like top 5, you don't play in the play-in. So that 5 spot could be a point of contention.
6,
like
right?
Later.
Not top 6.
No, I'm talking about but I'm saying the top 5s. Oh no, that's right. It's top 6.
Top 6.
Yeah. So Clippers probably 6.
Clippers could be 6 or Mavs. It's going to be either one. Yeah. So I think one of those 6 teams. Yes.
And then after
I also think Paul George is a dark horse MVP candidate.
He is. He absolutely is, because Ty Lue can coach his ass off, and he's putting guys in the positions to be successful, and that's all you can ask for. So Paul George, dark horse MVP, Terrence Mann, most improved,
MIP,
but he's a candidate. He's a candidate for sure.
Of course, I'm rooting for Jordan Poole.
Absolutely, he's also up there. Like, it's a lot of guys poised for break. No, it's a lot of guys poised for breakouts on really good teams that need them at this particular juncture. So
I have a lot of people saying they think the Grizz make that 8th spot in the West this year. So who falls out?
Like it.
Who falls out?
The Grizz made the 8th spot.
But that's because the Warriors were out. That's not happening again.
Oh, the Blazers fell out. That's easy. The Blazers are like, I don't trust them. It's because the Blazers didn't do anything. No, actually, I take that back. The Blazers regressed. That's a team that it's not looking good.
So we think the Blazers fall out. I mean, this is what everyone's been saying. So
because especially looking at we agree like top 6 teams, top 6, 7 teams, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now the 8th spot becomes a point of contention. I like the Grizzlies more at this point, just because I see them trending in the right direction.
Yeah, the Grizzlies are good. And I just wonder if any other team is going to be sneaky. Like, I know we don't like to give any of these other teams credit, but like the Kings were like hanging around right there last year. They had injuries, but like
the Kings are a team that could be sneaky.
The Pelicans.
The Pelicans are tricky because Zion, I don't know, like he had the foot injury, which means he gained a whole lot of weight. Right. And him getting back to the floor is going to be hell in a handbasket. And their roster ain't great. So
they did lose. They
lost Lonzo.
Ball. Yeah.
So it's
so maybe they fall back, but I think the Kings are one to watch.
The Kings are a team to watch.
And then the Wolves, what kind of step does Edwards take this year?
Because like here's the thing. First of all, free Ant-Man. I want him out of Minnesota right now. I don't care that he's playing with Cat, because Cat ain't.
That's how I feel about
he's
Fox.
Nice.
I want him out of Sacramento.
Like, I want Anthony. Yeah, it's the Timberwolves. That's just the wait and see team.
Cat though is ready to he's had to deal with some grief and understandably, but I think he's ready to get back to like people talking about him and being that guy. And so
they gotta make the playoffs. They have to make the playoffs.
Absolutely.
Playing, 10th seed, not good enough. I need you to affirm at least, like, you can't be on it. Oh man, we trying to make the play in. Like, no, we need you.
Agreed. But I'm just saying they have the talent, I'm saying, to be one of those like sneak in the play-in games. I just don't know that they will do anything with it. And I think the Kings do, because they were right there last year. And then right at the end of the season, they had injuries. Fox went out, a few people, but they were like right there. And so I want De'Aaron Fox off the Kings so bad, but
free De'Aaron.
I love me some De'Aaron Fox, but I like that.
You know what? I take that back. I don't necessarily need De'Aaron Fox off the Kings. I want De'Aaron Fox to get a new, better head coach. Like Luke gotta go.
Yeah,
Luke gotta go.
Well.
Luke gotta go. Trust me. Like I did my time with Luke Walton as a head coach. He not gonna get y'all there. He not. So the Kings are a team. The Timberwolves again. They have D'Angelo Russell allegedly coming. I haven't seen that man play basketball in like 3 years. I don't know what he looks like at this point.
So let's just say none of those teams make it, but that the Blazers really are the team that gets pushed out. Is Dame asking out? Like, if they're just not in the playoffs here, is he asking
Dame
out?
Hasn't asked out yet. Like, if he ain't asked out by June,
he has kind of, right? And he tried
to keep no, because here's the thing with Dame. Dame could have been in LA right now. Dame didn't want to do that. Dame didn't want to ask out.
He doesn't want to look like the bad guy, but I mean, if he doesn't even make the playoffs, he's gonna still be like, oh, all right, let's run it back the same.
I don't know. He saw Giannis win, and it was like, oh, this is the sign I need. No, it's not. The sign you need to stop.
I don't even believe that. To me, that's just all like, that sounds good. I don't believe
there
he thinks
is
that.
No way you can think that.
He doesn't.
And my issue with guys like Dame, or even guys like just point guards in general, it's very, very hard to win with the point guard as your best player, which is why what Steph is able to do is so incredible. It's like, but he's a guy who doesn't need the ball all the time. Like, what point guard don't need the ball all the time? Like, what kind of stuff is that? But at the same time, it's Steph. Like, you get double when you cross half court, you can't have the ball.
Right.
You gotta move, you gotta pass and relocate, get it somewhere else. But for guys like Dame, if you're looking at a guy like, say, even Chris Paul, who had a lid on the third round until this season. No, not until the season, until he got to Houston. And then there was a lid on the finals until he got to Phoenix. and everybody else died. I don't know what that was about, but
Right.
what I'm seeing as far as point guards though is it's increasingly clear that you need guys like that in your third role. You need a guy who's I don't want to rely on my point guard to score 30 for me to win a game. Because if I have to rely on him to score 30 and still run the offense and still do all of this, I know my team is doing enough. And I don't know that I can trust that. Like, again, Steph is able to be who he is because Draymond takes on a lot of the decision making. Not necessarily point guard play, but decision making itself. Dame don't have that. Dame doesn't have that release valve.
No,
He got CJ as a second. He's got CJ as a secondary scorer, but it's CJ.
I mean, yeah, that's a conversation for another day. I just think that I think Dame gets a little bit of a pass. Like,
he does.
I'm not a fan of the whole he doesn't have Dre. Like, he could also develop his game to be more of an off-ball game, and so give them some different looks.
You could, but even still, he wouldn't have Dre. So it's very difficult to mirror that kind of offense for a guy not playing with that level of decision maker.
I mean,
so
Dre is usually passing the ball to
Steph. No, I understand.
It's not that.
That's great. It's not that. It's not.
I mean, you have to be able to make the passes.
You have to be able to make the pass.
I don't want to sound like I'm undervaluing Dre, who is a super high IQ guy, but they could get someone in there competent enough to do that. But that's not his game.
Right. Like, the thing with Dre is if Dre was any real offensive threat, the Warrior people would value the Warriors so much, just view them so much higher than they do.
Right. And that's the other thing that people don't understand about the team. When they're just Steph, he's better off ball. No. They play off ball because Dre isn't an offensive threat. That's the reason.
Right. That's the whole.
The ball
they play him. They play Dre there because he's ineffective everywhere else. If Dre
except on defense,
except on defense, which is also why he's on the floor. If you can do that on defense and be good at making decisions on offense, then you're a net positive, and we don't have to worry about that. But if we're looking at Draymond Green as an individual player, if he was any better at anything on offense,
which he was in 2015 and 2016, which is why the Warriors were so dangerous at that time. And so that and this is why fans have been calling Dre, you got to shoot the ball. You can't be on the court and
you can't be scared.
Right.
It's certain things. It's on one hand, I understand you not taking a lot of shots being scheme, but at another point, you a professional, you clearly see that your team needs scoring. Get aggressive and go score.
Exactly. I think we're gonna see more of that this year. I mean, I really think that it was because KD came to the team. I just think that you have Steph, you have KD, you have Clay. It's there just wasn't a need for him to do that. And whether it was intentionally or not, I think he stopped working towards his offensive game. You know what I mean? And so, but that's needed now. But Jordan Poole is maybe going to change that equation a lot. And all these, shooters they added. So it's okay. People can keep sleeping on the Warriors. I'm not worried about it. I'm not here to plead their case. I think, I think it's going to be Warriors, Lakers in the Western Conference Finals. That's my prediction.
I would not put it past them.
And
would not put it past. You can't discount a championship core ultimately. And as long if the Warriors are healthy and they get to the playoffs, they're dangerous immediately. Simply because of their
Clay will be back by then.
How to win. Exactly. And you'll still have Andrew Wiggins, you'll still have Otto Porter Jr., you'll still have Jordan Poole, you'll still have Nemanja Bjelica. You'll still have this wealth of talent. Still have James Wiseman, all these other guys, all these young guys coming into their own. So that's a really good team.
So tell me really quickly what you think about the East before we close. Just give me your who's coming out the West, who's coming out the East. What does it look like over there?
right now, it's the Bucks to lose, and that's just because Kyrie is MIA.
But do we
Basically,
really think without Kyrie that the Nets can't still win?
yes, we do, and I think that because of Drew Holiday and his defensive prowess. Like Patty Mills is a solid pickup, but it's also Patty Mills at the same time. So for the Nets, it's a lot of KD's gonna have to be something that he hasn't been before for me to really, really buy them.
I
And
just think that Harden is such a much better player than Chris Middleton, and he also adds like playmaking.
With James Harden is in the playoffs. Like people were like, oh my God,
say no more.
James Harden was hurt, and when they played the Bucks and XYZ, and I'm like, yeah, but we've also seen James Harden healthy and lose.
Listen.
So you a Warriors fan,
Warriors fan. I was gonna say Warriors fan here. You
so
don't talk to me.
You know. So but this is me like just
versed in his
like this is me looking at the Nets, and then also looking at KD, fam. KD on the Warriors was great because KD joined a program already in progress. Like you joined Steph and Clay, and you just pretty much stepped in for Harrison Barnes, who if he made just 2 threes in 2016.
I just love when people who are not Warriors fans say this, like actual like objective people who are not being haters, because I'm just like, come on, stop telling me we fucking needed KD to win a championship. KD is great, and I love that he came, and he's a superior player, but do not fucking tell me that they could not have won without him.
Harrison Barnes shit in the bed is the only reason KD was able to come to Oakland. Like that's it. That is the only reason. If Harrison Barnes is just a regular NBA player for like the last 3 games of that series, they probably went to but he wasn't.
Listen, there's just so many things. Like if Dre just didn't get suspended, if Bogut didn't fucking get hurt, it was a perfect confluence of events.
All of that, but things happen as they should. So y'all got KD. Like I said it when it happened, like damn, Brown won the battle and lost. Like Brown won the battle and lost the war. Like you came down for 3-1 against 73-9, and now you got to face Kevin Durant. With these
anyway,
like it's wild. So, but in all seriousness, looking at Kevin Durant, because mind you, I told you earlier, like looking at LeBron's run, looking at Steph run, and then looking at KD and all of that. And the reason I say that is because KD blew the 3-1 lead first. Now, granted, we give Russ a lot of flack for his, but like KD was right there with him. And
yeah, like I think KD gets a pass for that series. That
KD gets a lot of passes, and KD
does.
KD gets a lot of passes.
Does. And no arguments
really,
for me.
Like they get a lot of passes, and that's my thing about KD. I'm like, KD got to do it. KD has to do it outside of Golden State, because I know him going to Golden State was guaranteed because we already saw them win. We knew that we saw that coming. That was fine. We see you in Brooklyn.
I'm not a big fan of the you got to prove it without people thing.
No. But no, it's not necessarily prove it without people. But I'm talking for me, people were like, oh, KD like top 10 on
top 10 what? All time?
They said he was sitting on like the edge of top 10, and I was like, I don't have him over Steph, but
no, I don't either. But I have him on the edge, but I have them like around 12 and 13. I
have KD like 15. Okay. And
I mean, I think if both Steph and KD are in your top 15, I think that's reasonable. They have more time in their careers to move up.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's reasonable. I have them like in the 12 to 13 range. I have them back to back, and I have them like 12 and 13.
That's fair. But just looking at again, like KD's career and his trajectory, like in OKC, you was that dude. You was billed as that dude. You had next, and then you didn't have next no more. You join the people who jumped, who pretty much cut you.
But see, he really didn't have next because
But
Steph took that shit.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. He just pretty much, they cut him. He was supposed to be next. He was in the conference finals. He had been to the finals already. Like we thought, like, but then injuries happened and like a lot of things happened. Fine. He's okay. See, he goes to Golden State. Again, you join the program already in progress. In that case, I'm looking at Steph like, oh, this is Steph's team. You just really here doing your shit. Like you was doing it at OKC, except now you have Steph and Clay to do it next to. So you leave.
So you like, I mean,
so Pete. So he gets to Brooklyn. And now it ain't as like shit ain't as smooth. He went to Brooklyn after like freshly tearing his Achilles, which tough injury. But he missed the whole season, right? In doing that, he comes back last year and he's hooping. He not the clear-cut MVP though, but he's also had injury issues, right? When we get to the playoffs, he's hooping, like he's scoring. He's finally doing things, but I'm looking at Giannis and I'm like, are you doing more than this dude?
I mean,
yeah,
so big like, feet, toe on the line, son. And
hey,
this is a completely different combo.
Is it? I don't know, but
I think it is. I think
it's like
is.
we like the game still gotta be played. The game was played and he lost it.
So, it does, and credit to Giannis. But I personally did not ever look at that series and feel like you said, is he doing more than Giannis? Maybe not, but I didn't feel Giannis was doing more than him. Giannis won. He won the game and he went on to become a champion. But I still thought KD was the better player in the series. That's what I thought.
I thought KD was better on offense. Like he's a better scorer.
Well, yeah,
but
KD is not like a great defensive player. And when people try to talk about his defense,
but that's what I'm saying though. Like Giannis is great on both sides. So like, and I think that's where where the difference is for me.
Yeah, I'm not one of those people who's like, you got to be great on both sides. I just ultimately like,
no, you don't have to be great. But I'm saying, if I'm comparing you to other great players, if you giving me 30 on 55%, and you not playing as good a defense as somebody else who's giving me 30 on 55%. Because
the factor for me though is not like, I don't ever just look at it as like offense defense. I look at it and look, I think there's probably actually the greater argument that Giannis is the more impactful player. Like, so for me, it's ultimately about like, what is your impact on your team and the game versus just like, because some people can be a great like offensive and defensive player, but it doesn't matter, right? And so that's how I look at it, like impact. So like, what's your impact and result? And then I also like to look at your skills and like what level of skill. And so with KD, he's just such a skilled player. That's usually for me what like puts him up there. But I do think in terms of like impact to team, players like Steph and Giannis are more impactful. Like they raise their team ceilings higher, I think, than KD.
Like KD's a much smoother player. Like he gonna give you his right left cross and little two.
He's like, super skilled.
He's so smooth.
But that's not why he's just
no.
Yeah.
Like and aesthetically I get it, but the issue that I have with that is, as skilled as players are, again, it's Kobe fans. Like skilled as players are, there comes to a point of like results matter.
Absolutely.
Like and in that realm, I'm like, where Giannis is right now, just especially like on the run that he's having, like his last 3-4 years, 3-4 years, where it was like, okay, MVP, Defense Player of the Year, MVP.
So he had the awards, but I don't think his postseason runs were that great, you know.
No, and not until this past
not
season,
until the end. But like the same thing to me applies in the East that is in the West. There were some injuries, some things.
There were injuries, and he was almost victim to one. But when he got to the finals and he got a healthy Suns team, because mind you, his team was dealing with injuries too. It wasn't like, oh, the Bucks were healthy and nobody, like, and his team, his opponents were hurt. Like, no, they were without their starting two guard. So he hyperextended I'm not even sure
How
how
he played.
how that even.
That was some alien shit.
They needed to drug test him, blood test him, something.
That was remarkable. That was remarkable.
I have like I sprained my ankle 2 weeks ago. I'm still like I still got an ace. It's still elevated. You did that on a. Woof.
Yeah, I don't know. The only other thing that I've even seen, and I mean, it's a little different, but like the only other time I've been like that, like crazy about like a player playing on injury. Well, it was way back in the days. So I don't want to date myself, but in more recent history, it's Clay when he played on the high ankle sprain, because that was like what kept LeBron out for the number of games.
Those aren't fun.
High ankle sprains are no joke. And Clay came out and played like it was insane. I was like, how is he playing right now on a high ankle sprain? Like, I didn't think he was coming back for the series. So what Giannis did was incredible. I think sometimes people think I'm like hating on him because I'm still like, well, he has to do it again. But that's kind of like how I am when it comes to like player rankings and shit like that. Like I never the first season that someone does something, I never just at that time say, oh, this like like Kawhi, he won and then everybody was like, oh, he's the best player, like I don't ever do that. So it's like, to me, when I still keep guys like Bron in the top and Steph and KD, it's because to me they've just shown a level of consistency for a number of years. And it's also because they've won. Like when you look at someone like AD, right? Like after the Lakers won that chip, people had AD as the second best player in the league. I didn't, but they had him as second best, and he was top 5. There was a legit convo between at one time of who was better, AD or Giannis. No one would even dare ask that question now, right? And that's my point. It's like, we make a lot of decisions like immediately right after someone wins. And I'm saying I need to see him come back a second year and like dominate like that and either like get back to the finals or win for me to really say, okay, like I've now moved him to be a tier 1 guy. So in my rankings, he's tier 1, but I still have him below, those guys still. And so that's just how I rank players.
I mean, that's fair for AD. But at the same time, like I've seen him in the playoffs, like them in superstar numbers, like all the way. So I get where people are like, okay, if you rank in like playoff performance, where he's a 30 and 14 guy, like, yeah, I see where that conversation like is being had, especially in a season where Giannis isn't winning that.
Right. I'm not saying that he didn't do superstar play.
No, but I'm saying, but like we're talking about just like the conversation being had now. That conversation isn't to be had because Giannis had the year he had and AD was hurt, so AD now has to come back and prove that.
Yeah,
like
I don't think
like I'm looking at AD. I'm like, look,
I'm pretty decided that like Giannis is better than AD. I wasn't for a long time.
But that's fine. But I'm looking at AD like, all right, you feel how you feel. Where like you feel you should be viewed in this light, go prove that. Because look who got the awards last season. Like this is like
for AD, for me, it's not even like he could go out there and do like 20 and 20 every night and win. And it's because like Giannis to me is like, I think Giannis can raise a team ceiling in a way that AD can't. Like, I'm still not even sure if AD can be an actual true number 1 for a team.
He can.
But okay, maybe. I
mean, like sure. You're a Warriors fan. You've seen it, like you saw him in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Like that's the number 1. Like he's a true number 1. Now, granted, you got to put the pieces around him for him to be that. Like that's with any team.
Drew was his teammate. He had Drew as a teammate.
Like the year Drew was the year that they beat the Blazers.
Right. And even in the year
lost in the second round.
Even before Boogie went down that season, right? Like they were playing.
They were incredible.
Yeah, but they still weren't like one of the top teams in the West.
But like that's also organizational to a degree. Because again, it wasn't through no fault of Anthony Davis's that they weren't a top team.
I'm not saying
it wasn't through
fault.
any fault.
Go ahead.
But again, like, but with that is that's organizational. And as we're seeing now, it's organizational, even with the selling of the team and like it's organizational failure where that's
Yeah,
coming
that
into.
could all be true. I still don't think that he is a ceiling raiser like Giannis. And I don't, if he's your number one, I don't think your ceiling is going to be as high. And so that for me is why I think
I
Giannis
mean,
is the better player.
that's the only issue with that is when the Lakers won their championship, he was the number one option. So it's like,
Was he? Who won Finals
yes,
MVP?
he was. It's not about the MVP because we could go for that. Like here's the because mind you, again, as a Warriors fan, you watched the 2015 Andre Iguodala hoist that trophy, knowing damn well he wasn't Finals MVP.
Man, Lakers. So are you saying that Bron was not the real Finals MVP? I just want to
the
know.
Finals MVP in 2015 was Steph. He was 27-5.
I'm not talking about Warriors. I'm saying when the Lakers won their last championship, are you saying that Finals MVP was incorrectly awarded to LeBron?
No, but what I'm saying is if we're looking at the run, the actual run, there are 4 rounds in the playoffs, not just the last one. If you're looking at the run that the Lakers made, Anthony Davis was their number one option.
Right, but LeBron was still their most valuable player.
It's like in the finals, but you look at the Nuggets series, like to a degree, it's like what and what. Because again, Anthony Davis is 30 points and very elite defense. So
he is, and I still think Giannis is better.
I mean, you could that's fine. That's fine. But when I say look at who won the awards, I was talking about Jokic and like we're looking at Embiid. And like if these are the guys winning the awards, go 5 and go do that. You got it. You that good. So be that good.
Though? That's the question.
Yes, he is. He is absolutely that good. He's every bit that good.
Okay. We haven't seen it though.
How have you not seen it? How have you not seen it?
Has he ever even been an MVP candidate?
As an MVP candidate, again, it's organizational failure.
Okay, but I mean,
but like if you're looking at like, because if you're looking, he
wasn't on the Lakers since he's been there.
Like
it was Bron always
because it's gonna be Bron because Bron has that kind of captivation over people. Like Bron got that kind of captivation over folks. Like
I don't know
like we were talking about DT earlier. He's got the same magic. Like when you're as good that long, people are gonna give you top billing no matter what actually is happening. So Bron's gonna be Bron, and I trust him. It's like I don't think he's better than Bron personally, but that's because Bron is just that incredible. Like in all the things that he's good at. But that's not a bad guy to be worse than.
Look, Anthony Davis is the top guy in the NBA. It's not like I have him like 20th. I think there was at one time a legit debate between who was better, Giannis or Anthony Davis. And I would flip back and forth. I think Giannis has definitively
at this point right now,
question.
At this point, it's definitively Giannis at this point, yes.
Yeah, and I'm not really convinced that like 80 can change my mind, but you know, who cares?
I mean,
he doesn't need to change my mind. It's just I don't think what he brings is
my only thing
Giannis
about that is I'm not sure what would need like there's nothing really to do to change your mind. Like you just see him.
Because I don't think Anthony Davis makes his teammates better the way that Giannis does, and that's really what it is. And I always give the advantage to any guy who can like elevate the play of his teammates. I always value that more, right? So like if you were to ask me like, why do I say like Steph is better than KD? It's because of that one thing, right? Like I definitely think like for all the people who think KD is the best player in the NBA, like I won't fight them on that. Like I understand that argument, but I don't agree. And largely the reason I don't agree is because of that. And I do think, so as much as I said that I think KD is better than Giannis, if Giannis comes back and does the same thing that he did again, I would feel more I would be more comfortable because like I said, I'm someone like you got to come back and do it again. But also I do think that Giannis like makes his teammates better in a way KD doesn't. It's just that Katie, like I said, is so fucking skilled that like it's just so good. Like he just forces himself still into those conversations. But there is an element. I'm not saying that he can't. I'm not saying that Katie doesn't make, because the takeaway will be from here from people who want to hate, like Natalie said Katie doesn't make his teammates. That's not what I'm saying. But I think that Giannis, his impact is greater, just like I think Steph's is greater. And like, to me, at the end of the day, I'm gonna like place more value on that.
No, I feel that. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, but anyway, I look forward to us matching up with you guys. Should be a fun night on Twitter, definitely.
Most definitely.
Please tell your fan base to stop fucking
here's the
memes
thing.
about me.
They don't listen to me. So
I had to
like,
shut down my DMs because they were harassing me. Like, can they just leave me alone?
I don't talk to them. I don't talk to them. Like, it's tricky dealing with them because it's like you have Laker fans and then you have Kobe fans, and then mixed into all that now you have Bron fans. And it's just like, I don't know who I'm talking to at this point. Like, it takes a few minutes of conversation to assess who, like, what's happening. Like, I was put in a group chat with a bunch of Bron stans, and I did not know it was Bron stans until we get into this conversation, and I'm like, Bron, it was a top 10, it was some kind of list conversation.
Yeah, they've invaded your fan base.
So like, the conversation's going, I'm just reading it, and girls like, yo, LeBron is the GOAT, this, that, the third. And I'm like, all right, cool. If LeBron is the GOAT, then LeBron losing is a big deal, right? But then it comes down, LeBron is the GOAT, Steph is overrated, the Warriors winning in 2015 isn't impressive. I'm like, but if LeBron is the GOAT, then how is that unimpressive? Like, I don't understand. And that's when I have to leave the group chat.
Right. Listen, yeah, the Bron stands that have invaded y'all fan base, it's like they're so insufferable. But I mean, there are some people who feel like the Lakers fan base is insufferable anyway. I didn't necessarily feel
it didn't. It did. Like, we are an insufferable bunch. Like, I'm not even gonna play. Like, they annoy me. They do. So I understand, like, Bron fans joining us is like, oh God, really?
Yeah,
but
the combination is a bit much.
It's just it's compounding. It's so, I don't talk to these people for the most part, but
they're legit psychos.
My only issue with people who like stand players is they get to teams and they talk about what the teams need to do. Like, yeah, we need to do X, Y, Z, and we need to no. You just need to bide your time and say, "Yay, go Bron," and be on about your business. We
once he's gone, they ain't gonna be there with the team.
Ain't no we. It's us, and y'all just have to be in the room.
Right.
We ain't kicking y'all out yet. But it's funny watching just different, like, how fandoms take hold, because people are like, player fandom is on the rise. Which is tricky for me, because like, me personally, I don't view people like that, where I'm gonna be that much of a fan, I'm gonna follow you from team to team. Like, no, I'm gonna like your play and I'm gonna root for my squad, and that's gonna be that. Like,
right.
But
I think with the way players move around so much right now, I think that's what lends itself to that, right? Because I mean, at least when I was growing up, players usually kind of stuck with the team, so not as much anymore. But I think when you are such a great player, like the way LeBron is, like the way Stephen Curry is, Kate, like just like those key guys, right? Because I remember a lot of people being Bulls fans, like just because of Jordan, or like Magic Johnson, like, because I was a Lakers fan in my very, very early, tender age, because I loved Magic Johnson. I lived in a state that didn't have a basketball team at the time. But I loved Magic Johnson. I'm not a Lakers fan no more. I don't claim them. I never like stayed with them after, but it's like, there's certain transcendent players that are going to make you do that, you know? And so I think that's the kind of player LeBron is, right? I mean, he is, you know, one of the greatest of all time. And so it doesn't, you know, it's weird a little bit, but I also understand why fans follow him from like place to place.
Man,
it's a bit much, but you know,
it's
wait,
I don't think much.
I don't think you finished telling me your East ranking. So you do have the Bucks repeating, but or at least coming, not necessarily repeating, but coming out
as it stands. Yes, the Bucks are coming out of the East. So,
but who do you think are the top? Like, you know, the
top teams is the Bucks and the Nets are a cut above. I think everybody else right below them are the Heat and the Bulls. I'm interested to see if the Knicks and the Hawks replicate any form of their success this season.
What about the Celtics, or do you just hate them too much as an opposing franchise?
Fuck the Celtics. But also, I am very interested to see where they land because they could very well be in the mix from like 3 to 6 with the rest of these guys. Huh? The Celtics, absolutely. Yeah. The Celtics are a team that's gonna be there. The Sixers are up in the air right now because of the Ben Simmons situation. Yeah, but a team to watch, I think, is the Pacers.
That's someone else told me this, and I was like, "What? What am I watching the Pacers for?
Why?
What am I watching for?
Why? Look. We talking playoff. They could get into the 5-6 range real easy.
Why? Because what's changed about them?
It's not what's changed. It's more or less just the continuity. Again, that shit matters. They still trying to get rid of Malcolm Brogdon and Miles Turner, and the reason they're able to do that is because they have a point guard already. I forget his name. Oh my god! But they do number 88, Pitatsi, or however you say his name. Yo, he's nice. Sabonis is great. Like they've got the scoring. They play good. They play well as a team. They got rid of the dark cloud over their organization, who was their head coach. It's just a lot to look forward to if you're the Pacers. I'm looking like 5-6 seed. Look for.
You're like the second person to bring up the Pacers to me.
Because again, like I'm seeing a lot of love for the Bulls, and that's great. The Bulls deserve that. But
I'm interested to see what the Bulls are gonna do.
The Bulls, like if I'm seeing a lot of love for the Bulls, like the Bulls are great. They deserve that. You know, Zach LaVine is that kind of guy.
But I'm still seeing people say that they're going to be a play-in team. Like I don't see that much love. I think they're going to be one of the top 6. I do.
There's a yeah. So Nets, Bucks, Bulls, Heat. I got Pacers. The Pacers, Knicks, Hawks, Sixers are gonna be around.
And the East is a little tricky too.
And that kind of
I don't have the Pacers in there, but the East is gonna be a little tricky too.
Like I got the Pacers like kind of on the low end because
I don't know if New York is gonna come back and have that like the Knicks kind of team again.
The Knicks won't have, but mind you, the Knicks were like a top 4 seed. Oh, and the Celtics, that's the other team. But like, I'm curious. I'm not really sure about the Raptors.
I heard they're a sneaky team to watch too. I don't know. I don't
like. Here's the thing: as they're a sneaky team to watch, but also I saw them last year, and it's like they're well coached, but they don't play. It's odd.
Yeah, they should have been better than they were last year. I didn't understand that. Like they should have been a playoff team,
and that was why. And that's kind of why I have the Pacers kind of sneaking. And as opposed to say the Raptors,
they didn't sneak in last year.
No, they didn't. I'm saying this year though. So like, but
nothing's changed.
No, I'm saying continuity. Again, I like the chances. Like just seem I could see them getting into the 5-6 range. Okay. The Hornets, I really like LaMelo.
Oh, the Hornets, man! Look, there's
I don't know.
Have to have a part 2 to talk about these East teams because
we might. I have because. I like the Hornets. I don't know that I like their talent altogether.
Yeah, I forgot about the Hornets. Okay.
But they will make an interesting team. They'll be a tough team to play. But necessarily say a tough team to beat, but a tough team to play.
Yeah, I hear you. But you have the Bucks coming out, and you think the Bucks and the Nets are the top two.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like KD and Harden are still KD and Harden.
Right.
The only thing is you really have to rely. You really got to hope James Harden don't disappear in the playoffs.
Right. Right.
And that's, tell as old as time. So.
All right. Well, we'll see. Listen, lady, I am excited to have you on today. It's been really, really great. I appreciate you joining me, chopping it up, all of that good stuff. I love talking to other women about basketball. So
absolutely, we got to get you on our pod too.
Oh, I would love to. I would really love that.
They do the little murderers row. Like we had a little, like we do a little ladies' night, like pod episodes every now and again. We've had like 2 and 3 guests on at a time. So that's always something that I look forward to doing.
That would be dope. I would love that. So just let me know anytime.
We'll
do. Enjoy the rest of your day. I hope you get to go do your drinks or whatever, celebrate.
I will.
Wanted to.
I will.
Okay.
I will.
All right. So opening night, I'll see you on the TL.
Absolutely. We might even do a space. So if you feel free, hop in.
I will. I'm sure we'll have our own spaces going on too. So, but I'll
Possibly,
I'll be space hopping.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
All right, girl. Have a great rest of the night.
You too.
All right. Take care.